Jordan is going to lead us in the invocation, and then we'll have the pledge of allegiance.
Gracious Father, Lord, we come tonight just thanking you, Father, for your grace and mercy and blessings and allowing us to come out to conduct the business of the county. Lord, we thank you for our nation. We thank you for the democracy that we have. Lord, we thank you for the freedom that we have in this nation. And we ask now, Lord, that you will bless this meeting, bless the discussions that we have, that whatever we do, we're going to do it in the way that should be done, the blessing to the citizens of this county, and be pleasing in thy sight. We thank you for all your grace and mercy. We ask these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I will say the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I would like to call the regular meeting of the Gates County Board of Commissioners to order. Tonight being our second meeting of the month, there is no approval of the minutes. You have before you the agenda. Are there any adjustments in the agenda?
I would like to make a request that we add under old business, library property.
Okay, so that would be number 8, well,
That's under number 7.
yeah, it's under number 7, library.
That would be 4, and then the rest would just be renumbered.
Okay. Library will be number 4, and everything else will be renumbered. Any adjustments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed. Okay, delegations. Okay, Mr. Ryder. Good evening.
Oh, I hope it's good.
Don't be pessimistic.
I've been in some terrible pain the last month or so. You ever try to get how slow doctors can be? Why don't we have more doctors in this world or something?
When you need one, and sometimes you just hurry up and wait.
It is. They don't realize. I got, first of all, I didn't come in here for no controversy. I just wanted to make some statements. And I hope my first item of business, which I said I would be back every September, last September I missed it. I don't know where I was, which hospital I was in, but I came later. But this is September, and on September the 28th, Johnny Moore died. And so I said, as long as I was living, if I had a little bit of brain left, I wanted to always remember him as a commissioner. He didn't serve long. He had a lot of controversy, but he was a brilliant man, and I think that later on, y'all would have got the ones that were here would have got to work with him, and some of his things were being changed, and y'all were supporting him, Jack and Henry. So, but anyway, no more said than that. It is on the 28th of September that Johnny died. Henry being a pastor, and I don't know about Ray, I'm all church people. This has nothing in the world to do with me tonight, but I just wanted to tell it because it happened to me today, and I could not believe it. Jack, there are things that may have happened in our lives that seem so strange that we can't explain it. Oh, by the way, I didn't say I'm Earl Roundtree on the Folly Road. I mean, Sunbury. Last time I was here, Linda wanted to make sure that I got it in there.
Well, I give you credit for what you
I
said.
know that's right, but the other people wanted to know who that idiot was. But anyway, I know Natalie does, I don't know about anybody else, on Facebook, whether she saw this. But I was writing on Facebook today about the fact, and Henry, this might not go along too well, but I'm not a person to forgive and forget. And I don't make no apologies to that. I like to forgive, but I don't ever want to forget. So when people step on my toes, I don't even try to forgive. You know, it happens. But I'm sitting there on my computer now, typing out this thing, never posted, I'm just typing it out about what I just said about forgiving and forgetting. And over on the side popped up Pastor Reverend Benson, Warwick Swamp Baptist Church. I think he's Benson. He puts a lot of stuff on Facebook. Seemed like a really nice guy. I might go to his church, but I can't get up early enough. But anyway, it just popped up, Natalie, and he put something on there about forgiving and forgetting while I'm typing. And sometimes I said, how in the world can you explain? Some things you can't explain, can you, Henry? So I went back and read it after I posted mine. I didn't change what I said, of course, and I read it, and basically it was some article that this woman wrote, and I guess it was a religious thing, and was talking about forgiving and forgetting. And what her problem was is forgiving people who never admit that they were wrong or never apologize. That was the word she used. So, I just thought it was so strange. It's been on my mind all day. I just popped up right in the middle of it. I wanted to say this. I put this on Facebook, I did find out something, a couple of things in the last month or so. I think that our county manager, Natalie, is a class act. And I say that, I already told her this, but I mean, she's not surprised because I actually told her in the office. But it's sort of humorous to me. But after some controversy we've been having with some of her people, I went to a Board of Adjustment meeting. And of course, Natalie had to conduct it, you know. So after the meeting, she was really nice, answered all my questions as nice as she could be. After the meeting, two of the people came up and they said, we've been wondering how Natalie was going to react to you today. I said, Natalie's a class act, and I met her in the office and everything. But Ben, you know, it's the way you handle situations and people. And so she had tried to figure the best way to handle me was to be nice to me, and it worked. But she did. It was very professional. I think everybody in the county ought to know it. Because she could have been like some of the other people, and to the point, you know, just you could see the hate in her eyes when I walked into the office, and she was just as nice as she is tonight. So much for that. Some of the things that I'm going to run over tonight, because I hear them all the time, and I'm kind of going to defend somebody, but not offend, defend that. That is the fact, years ago, all of y'all will, Jack, I don't think any of y'all actually were around when Mr. Willett was able to come to the meetings. Where are you, Jack? Yeah, I mean,
I had come to some meetings when, as a citizen.
as a citizen, but y'all were not on the board. Most of the people in the county that know John Willett and knew him, he was a brilliant man. But he would come to the meetings, and most of the people around Sunbury, around the county, especially around Sunbury, they got called to meet and knew John Willett, because I started showing up. And he would come in and talk to the commissioners and make a lot of sense. But that didn't mean they ever listened to him. But the reason I bring all this up, over the years ago, Mr. Willie came in a meeting and he was discussing the water department. And it wasn't a complaint, it was just a statement that I always remember he made. He said, we got to understand that eventually this water department is going to start having problems because everything sort of wears out. And he said, y'all need to plan on that in your finances. And he went through his 30-minute spiel. And so I didn't thought anything else about it until I know I don't get as many as Natalie, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I know Natalie being county manager. We hear about the water leaks all the time. And people realize that, that I got a big mouth and are dumb enough to stand up here and look like a fool in front of you, but they called me up. And this week, tell me where the water leaks were. Well, Natalie, let me say, I did not tell them to call you. And I got thinking about it from now on. Call Natalie or Linda Hoffman, don't call me. But the reason I say that is, I don't even know when the water system went in. I really don't. I didn't research it. It's been a while though, I know that. Well, we got, and we're going to have a lot of leaks. Because, and probably the person in here that knows as much about this would be Billy. But a lot of our water, most of our water lines have been put down in what we commonly call clay. Actually, it's subsoil with a high clay content. Let's get technical on that bit, all right? The soil science 101. But clay, and I thought about it when I was leaving today because it's rained so much on the Folly Road and the ditches are full again. So that clay down there is soaking up the water. Now next summer, we could have an extremely dry summer, and that stuff starts shrinking and shrinking. And if you build a house, especially some areas of Wake County, they have a lot of trouble with foundations if they don't put them down right because that clay soil shrinks and grows. And I don't know if this is an absolutely thing, but Plumber Joe was working in my house, and we were bringing it up about a month ago. He was talking about the water leaks at the meters. And he said as long in August is when him and Jonathan get the business because, and he was like me, and that was the fact that it had to do with the hot weather, the heat building up during the summer. And so we're going to have a lot of water leaks. And fixing all, and the reason I'm saying all this, just for food for thought for the manager and you commissioners, I think that in my understanding in the past, we've been raiding the water fund for other things. And this is what Mr. Willie was concerned about. And it's what I and the citizens are concerned about, because it's not Timmy Ishbest's fault. He didn't put the water lines down, he got a job. And it's not his fault that these things are popping up. And they're popping up, I think, faster than we have the ability to fix them. And it's up to the commissioners and the county manager to maybe take some of our water money, which we have plenty of water money, and bring in some contractors to fix these things. But it's not, I'm getting tired of people blaming it on you and Natalie and Timmy, but it's none of y'all's fault. But we do have to think about money to fix them. And that's just a side thought, working on this thing. My other point tonight is that it is always important. None of y'all plow a mule. I didn't either. We had one, and my daddy thought I was the dumbest thing in the world because I couldn't plow a mule. What he didn't know was I had sense enough that I didn't want to learn to plow a mule because we had tractors. I didn't want to do it. But one thing that I was, when I was a kid, they were still logging. Penn Gatlin and all what his daddy was cut timber for us. They were using mules. I'm that old, Henry. But a team of mules have to pull together. If you've got two mules and one won't pull and the other one will, and they don't work together. Now I know there's going to be differences of opinion because the general pattern says if y'all all fall alike, nobody would be thinking. But at the same time, for the sake of the citizens and the sake of the county, that some of these things we've got some problems and we need to work together and try to solve them. That doesn't mean that you got to give in, which you know I won't because I don't forgive and forget. So much for that. But the one thing that I did want to clarify tonight, and that had to do with as y'all know that I went through this thing with the water department. And Linda, I don't want to embarrass you, but I'm going to have to say this because you chose to run for this job. You chose to be commissioner, and when you did that, you put a big X across your chest. Whether we're friends or not, you realize that. But one thing that I wanted to clear up was I never had any problems as far as having my water cut off or anything like that. And I paid my water bill, my checks weren't lost, but I just knew so many people that did. And I think the citizens of the county have really read about this, and they thank Henry Jordan for the work that he tried to do. And I'm still not satisfied, other than everybody I talk to says, why don't they give us 20 days? Everybody else does. Why they don't? I'm not satisfied with that. But what happened to me, of course, Natalie knows, all of you probably know it by now. Of course, I have got more money than I got brains. And some of you give a lot of money to the church or something like that. I give money back in a way to protect the people who can't protect themselves. and I don't mind doing it until I run out of money. But anyway, I checked in on this, find out what was the best way. Natalie said here in this meeting on camera to me, and Linda was there, that we could not connect to collect our landfill fees on the record. And she's an honest person. She never denies these things. I like her for that. One thing I can't stand is somebody that tries to tell me that I'm wrong when I know I'm right. And she's not like that. That's why I like her. But she said that. Well, what happened was that in 2011, 5 years ago, and Natalie knows all this because her or somebody did the research and found out, and it goes on. But this didn't happen recently. This was on the record in 2011 that the article that was written by the Institute of Government said that we had, and they quote the statute, that we have the right to collect landfill fees through our water department. And my lawyer found it in, let me see, $350 later, something like that, and found this and emailed it to me, and then Natalie and I had met about it. So that was all solved. But the problem that I had with it was, Linda, you were quoted, and if I'm wrong, I'll tell you who said it, but I'm not unless I have to. You said it was all my fault because I had been informed about this. Do you remember telling? Well, anyway, you just food for thought. That's what I was told. And other doing the fault, I will say somebody in your family.
You know friends, you know family too. And you know you.
But anyway, the point of it is that my water was not turned off because I had been informed about this statute. No one informed me and called me up and told me, Earl, there's a statute here that says that we can do it and you better pay your water bill, or your landfill fee. I pay my water bill. And I had to admit, we got a small group on camera, but this is Gates County. It was all a legal maneuver. It's my water being cut off, and I'll admit it to you now because I ain't worried about it no more. My water being cut off was all a legal process. All a legal process, and I was doing what the lawyer told me. And he says, don't pay it. And let them cut your water off. And then the county becomes the defendant, and it's all legal stuff. But anyway, I knew that you were going to probably cut my water off. But the question is, will somebody going to be nice enough and say, Earl, we're going to cut your water off today, and call me and tell me my water's been cut off? And nobody did that. So if you think I'm going to forgive and forget, don't ever worry about that. But I was expecting it because I knew the personalities involved, and they had a way to cut Earl Ramsey's water off. And everybody knew that was a big star in somebody's cap over here. But it's all over with. The law is there, and I don't know when the statute was passed. Probably she wrote the opinion on this thing sometime after that, but it was in 2011, and Natalie's got a copy of it and saw it and talked to the people in the Institute of Government. But anyway, other than that, I see something that I'm not sure I'm right on, but all of you, we got some problems here, and one of the problems I mentioned about funding to help get these water leaks stopped. Then Natalie and I had a conversation. She actually sort of brought this up. I didn't, but we know she gets these phone calls, and I know it gets irritating to her, but about our convenience sites. And people are basically illegally dumping in our convenience sites. And I'm talking about large trailer loads of wood and stuff out of the houses. That could be asbestos, it could be lead paint. And I don't think y'all want to dump this on Natalie and say, well, you're the county manager, you take care of it. I think all of you need to put your brains together and do like them mules and pull together. So if you got any good ideas to help us with it, because the citizens notice it. And any of you get any phone calls about this and people complaining, I've witnessed it myself. The day I met Natalie in her office, I met her in the office, was that I had gone and dumped my garbage bag out, and it was a tandem axle load, trailer load of boards, Jack, stacked up that high, and a man and woman are dumping them in our dump. Well, according to what I understand, we pay by the ton. I get, now that I live by myself, I don't get but one bag of garbage a week. I used to get a lot more. But I mean, it's two great things this county's had. One has been our landfill, our waste management, and the other's been our water department. And I don't want to criticize either one of them because they've both been great for the county. And I don't have an answer, and I don't usually come, so I'm not criticizing anybody, because I don't criticize anybody unless I got an answer. And I really don't have an answer. I know it's been kicked around. And everything Natalie told me, I agree with. And first of all, I guess, I'm not quoting Natalie, but I think we did discuss it, is the fact that these people who are working out there at the land dumpsters, convenience sites, are just retired people, you know. They're not a law person. They're not like Ray had the power to arrest me, and no power of arrest. And we've had, but I did talk to one guy who has complained about this. His daddy worked there, and years ago, he's dead now. And he was talking about how irate these people would get and how they would threaten you if you said, I mean, you know, these people. And the other thing is that we might think about when we look at this is the fact that it's been constantly brought up time and time again about people coming in with Virginia license. And Natalie hadn't been here that long, and she's heard this before. And then she said, which we all know, that up in Coral Peak, where a lot of military people live, they can have any license plates they want. So, but the problem is, I always say, why would anybody from Virginia or Suffolk come dump trash in Gates County? Because they got garbage pickup. So why don't they sit in the garbage can? Well, that's not the problem. The problem is that they don't want to load up these large volumes, the things that we don't need having to pay for. It's not a bag of garbage that's going to bankrupt us. It is going to be that, and I don't have an answer. And I know it's been kicked around, I know it's on Natalie's mind, and she hears it, but y'all all need to work together on this, and somebody come up with some type of way that might work with us on it. Other than that, that is my only complaint tonight. I hope I didn't make anybody mad. There is something going on, and I'm not going to discuss it tonight. I called my friend, the lawyer, up, and I said, go ahead and send me the bill. I said, we finished with the water department. Then 2 or 3 days later, I found out there was something else going on that was far more legally a problem than that. So I called him back up and I said, well, I don't know. I said, maybe I'm going to give you a Christmas present anyway. But I'm not going to discuss that tonight. This is basically, right now, it's an in-house problem with y'all. But if it's not solved, this could be a situation where there's actually laws being broken. Now, I've talked to this same attorney before about this same problem. And he actually brought in another attorney from the Nags Head, so there was 3 of us, and he was a government official, local government official. But y'all seeking to work your problems out, and if they're not worked out, I will be back. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Raintree, and I would like to talk to you afterwards and tell you what I exactly said.
You made me go on camera.
But I mean,
I just wanted to make sure that if somebody told you that, then you were not properly informed. It didn't have anything to do with you. It's just that I just want to let you know that if you said that, you weren't properly informed. That's why I put that on.
like I say, I will, if you stick around, I'll be glad to share.
I was as diplomatic tonight as I could be. Have you
And
ever
I
seen
do
me?
appreciate, I do appreciate it. And thank you for bringing it up. And we have all heard and we have all seen at the convenience sites that some strange things go on. And we are very concerned about that. as well as water leaks. And I think we all get calls on that, constantly. Is there anyone else? No one else has signed up? How about tonight's delegations? There are no administrative reports tonight because this is our second meeting. There's no public hearings, but we do have some old business, the library. I think all of you are well aware that the library, we have been very concerned about some of the appearance of the library property. You go out there with the burn and the overgrowth of vegetation, for it to be a county building. We certainly wanted to look as nice as it possibly can. Mr. Rankin, you want to fill us in?
I spoke with Paul Toby, and I received this late Friday afternoon. I took pictures that you have in front of you on Saturday morning, so please, I apologize if my fingers are in the way. It was a glare, and I tried to crop and make this as, so you can see where the stakes are as well as where it is in relation to the property. But Mr. Toby said all of the iron stakes were gone. He could not identify any of them. So he replaced them with guard stakes within a half a foot of the corners of the property. The berm that was been discussed is located on the property, and the road is not on the county property. And if you need to see,
Was it concerned that we clear out any debris and all the growth that's out there? Was that a concern for?
the concern is who owns the berm, and then if we own it, what does need to be done to it? Does it need to be taken down? Does it need to be cleaned off? You'll notice it's hard to see in these pictures, but there are cedar trees that are planted along the top of that berm. And if you later you need to, if you want to see better pictures, you can look at them on my computer.
Natalie, if I may, the vegetation that was planted on, I think, what we'll call the crest of the berm, as far as how many survived and lived,
I didn't count any of that. I have no idea how many were even planted to start with.
Is the berm as a result of ditching, or apparently that's?
From what Paul Toby told me before he went out there, was that the berm was there before the property was surveyed, and yes, it did appear to be from the ditch, and it was dumped on to this piece of property.
That was given to the county.
Yes.
the berm could have actually served a purpose if a landowner wanted to visually, put something up there to protect the property. They could put smaller trees because of the height of the berm. So there would have been some advantage to that if that's what they were after. It's on our property. We're not concerned, I don't think, about shielding our property visually. What my goal would be make the property look presentable. We're going to ask our residents to take care of their property and plant vegetation. I'm certainly in favor of us doing the same. I see on the second page there, when I asked that question about the vegetation, I wasn't looking at this picture, but I do see some that survive there. It looks like
Yes, there's some.
There's so much
other clutter around.
There was pine trees that are growing along the bottom of the ditch.
and that would impede the water flow.
Yeah, with the berm there, you can also have water draining down into the foundation of the library. That's a possibility as well. So you really want to have a good drainage away from the building rather than something that's going to cause water to go into it.
Also, it'd be a lot easier to maintain if it's level or sloped gently for a landscape or peat mowing or whatever to do.
The county, we have discussed in the past the front yard, which is the third page. And there's a small section in the back that you can't see in any of these photographs. We've talked about how the grass does not grow. And when Johnny Grant cut the grass this year, he did not mow the ditch banks every time because he was trying to encourage grass to grow. And I've had one or two people tell me that they look better now than they've looked in a long time just because there's grass there. But as you can see, they still do not look very good. We've talked about putting cotton dirt in the front yard and in a small area in the back and having that tilled in this fall in order to try to promote growth. Actually, the person that we've talked to about doing this saw me Saturday at the convenience site, and we talked about what was the timeline. And I told him I was going to put this on the agenda tonight because I did not know if you wanted him just to still do the front yard and this area in the back of the building, or if you wanted to tackle a piece of property, which is the last page, and that's just the corner of this, about a quarter of an acre that's past the parking lot. There's not a whole lot of grass growing there. There's some voluntary pine trees that have come up that are probably at least knee-high, not a little bit taller, as well as other weeds. There is no true grass, as you can see on this, and that's the very first page. You can see in that picture what the ditch looks like, or what the slope to the ditch looks like.
I know a citizen has volunteered who has an excavator and the equipment necessary, that if we wanted to take the berm down, that they would do it free of charge.
Exactly
I
what it
think
is.
that needs to be done before we,
Do anything about trying to get that smoothed out and leveled.
we can do all that together as far as landscaping and reseeding.
But the front, can you go ahead and start on that, with cotton dirt on the front of it? Can you? Or should we wait?
Well,
You just have to come back twice probably.
Well, and I think the person, he's not concerned about having to come back twice. And he was really wanting to go ahead and at least get the front completed. Excuse me?
which person are you talking about? Not her volunteer?
No, not her volunteer. This is another person who we've talked to about coming out with some equipment and doing the front yard. Because he said if you're going to go ahead and do that, you need to do it in the fall. So that way, if you want to try to plant seed, you can go ahead and get that taken care of now. And then he said, when you decide about the rest, if you want him to come back, he can come back and do that. But he was willing to do whatever the commissioners wanted.
Well, I was actually gonna ask a question about, what our rules were on people volunteering this office, because they just wait if somebody was interested in volunteering, that's awesome. Is there some
We're
form?
gonna give them the dirt, they got.
I don't think they want the dirt. I think they're civic minded, and all of us know him. And he's on one of our all elected boards.
I think he brought it to the board's attention,
Mhm.
how much of it,
That's what it was.
Well, if he's willing to do it, I'm all for them to do it.
Wouldn't we need something signed?
We would have
An
him-
individual of any liability or
We can work out a contract so we have everything in writing.
to protect the individual as well as us?
But we would need a motion to direct our county manager to contact the person and work out the details.
I've got your motion when you're ready.
I will entertain a motion.
Madam Chairman, will make a motion that the individual who made contact with us volunteering their services to address the library property be approved tonight.
Are you going to to remove the burn and direct the county manager to work out the details?
Absolutely. If you can help me with my motion, that's good.
I'll second that motion, Madam Chairman.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded. Is there any other discussion?
With that, do we have to mention the cotton dirt? Is he planning to bring?
Those are two separate people.
Two separate things.
The county's actually going to haul the dirt. We have dump trucks. So we're actually going to haul the dirt. The volunteer is a totally different person than the person who's going to do the
Let's get-
actual work.
Let's do this motion. Any other comments, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of contacting the volunteer and letting the county manager work out the details concerning the library room, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, so that is approved. And do you want to say that the county employees are going to work on the front yard? Or haul it?
They're gonna haul the dirt. We've been in contact with someone else, and because of the price, we don't have to put it out to bid. But we've talked to two people who are gonna work in conjunction to do the front yard, if you want to go ahead and do that.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Or whatever landscaping is necessary to improve the aesthetics of the library, front and back. I'll make a motion to authorize the county manager to move forward with that.
Second that.
Motion's been made and seconded to work on the landscaping of the front of the library
He said in back.
and
It's just that small area in the back.
Okay.
Yeah, when that berm is removed, I'm thinking that we're gonna need to do something with that as well. So,
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? And that is approved, and the county manager will get started working on that. Okay, moving on to new business. Appointment of current CAC members to the joint CAC board. CAC, of course, is our group that works with the Community Advisory Committee, that works with, is a joint board. They are the liaison for the Guyanese and for the Gates House. But when we changed the board from just doing it with Guyanese, we have to reappoint everybody to that board. At our last meeting, we appointed a new member to increase Bernice Johnson. Bernice Johnson, but we need to reappoint all members of the board. And if you will see, they are listed in, well, I have a list of them. But they're, oh yes, it's on the back of the sheet. There is Faye Darden Smith, Vivian Hathaway, Ann Howell, Arlen Hicks, and Margaret Witherspoon. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion to reappoint the CAC members to the joint, as joint members for the Gates House and the Downey Nursing Home Advisory Committee.
Motion's been made, a second.
Second that motion, Madam Chairman.
Motion's
May I add in the motion that they follow these term
been
limits?
because we have alternating, so everybody is
Right.
alternating.
With the designated term.
With designated terms, is that, Commissioner Freeman, is that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded that we reappoint or appoint the following individuals to the respective terms for the CAC to join Bernice Johnson, who we appointed at our regular meeting at the first of this month, to this joint committee. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
And if I may, Ms. Johnson's term was not listed last time, so if we could just clarify that it will be from September of 2016 through September of 2017. I did confirm that today
Because she's,
with the ombudsman.
okay, so it's from September 2016 to 2017?
Yes, ma'am. It's for 1 year.
Okay. Well, we need a motion to have Ms. Johnson's term to reflect September 16th and to September 2017.
Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion that that be adjusted accordingly.
Do I have a second?
Second that motion, Madam Chairman.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And Thank you, and thank you to the committee members, Mrs. Howell, for their willingness to serve. They certainly are, have an important duty to help with those individuals who are in those homes.
Thank you, and Vivian is now Vivian Parker.
Okay. But she was a housewife.
Yes, she's recently married.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, before we move from this, I did note in the write-up that, this is the volunteer committee. They serve a great cause for the county. As a matter of fact, they serve a mandated responsibility for the county. And they did ask in the sidebar for consideration for a minimum stipend of 14 cents per mile for reimbursement of mileage for official duties and responsibility. They do have a couple locations. I do think that we need to give it some consideration. I would ask that the county manager would check other counties and see what type of reimbursements that they're providing their nursing home advisory committees members, and bring that information back to us and see if it's something that we can accommodate. Because this is a mandated requirement. We have to have people serving on those by law on those committees. So, we try to provide some type of stipend. We're not paying them. We're going to provide some type of stipend for our board of adjustments, our planning board, and various boards that serve for us. And I think we do need to take a look at it and see if we're in line with what some of the other counties are doing.
Okay, I don't think that needs a motion, if we just instruct the county manager to do a study about all CAC committees.
I requested that before, and for example, right here's information for Clemens County. They do not provide a stipend for them or any other committees. That was for Clemens. And Pasquotank County does not pay a stipend. Camden does not provide, or did not, they have a new county manager, so I do not know if that has changed, but that has not, they did not. Chowan provides a $20 stipend per meeting. Allegheny, I asked them because they were similar size, they do not provide. Mitchell County, similar in size, they do not provide. Washington County at the time did not provide. And Terrell County does not provide.
So the only county we found was Chihuahua.
Yes, sir, out of the ones that I did ask, I did not hear back from Currituck for our neighboring county.
I do remember discussing this,
I did too.
the timeframe when,
Passed in February 2015.
and Madam Chairman, we've just been given information that Commissioner Jordan was going to request. I would like for us to have time to digest this. I'd like to make a motion that it be on the agenda, this topic, at our next meeting. It'll give us time to do our own research. I make that a form of motion.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second. Any discussion?
Also, we'd like to know what Hurd County and Bertie and Northampton are doing.
Did you say that they were asked and did not?
No, I did not ask those. The first email I sent were to the 10 counties that were in the same con as us. And then I sent it to the small counties that had populations under 15,000, which included most of the ones in our cog.
Okay, if you, do your research and ask them. And we'll, I don't think we need a motion to put it on the agenda.
He made it.
Oh, you did make a motion.
And Commissioner
And you
DeWitt.
second. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of putting it as an agenda item, for the 1st of October, say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Okay, moving right along. Recommendation from the Personnel Committee.
First, I made a mistake, I inadvertently left this off the September 7th agenda. The Personnel Committee met and they approved or made a recommendation to update the finance officer job description from financial services director to finance officer, and they took out the responsibilities that had been included in the job description that included the tax department.
Really, there is no change. I mean, it's just no monetary change, it's just a title change. Also, when you have signed things, it asks for the finance officer on most of these documentations that we get, like from the state and grants, they ask for the finance officer.
It's an efficiency step, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Maybe this is something maybe should be addressed in closed session, but we have to kind of, we make sure this came up in an audit one time. It seemed like that, one of our past audits, that finance officer, there were certain qualifications or I don't know whether it was degrees or whatever that you need to have. Is that, want to make sure that we should the current assignment of this title. It's probably been, we got hit on that probably about 3 years ago, not three, several years ago.
Specifics of it.
Yeah, but it was, something had to do with the fact that there were certain things that the auditor was,
But since I haven't been on board when it was in audit.
It's been a while.
it's been about 3 years, but 3 or 4 years ago, maybe.
Okay,
I have no problem with it, I'm just saying that.
And well, and Ms. Pittman is the one who made the recommended changes, so I can double check to see if she had checked with Martin Starnes about this, and they were here last week as well, so she may have talked with them about that as well.
You know, just to be confirmed so that we don't
cause it's
get
wrong.
blindsided or something.
We don't want finding in the audit. So should we postpone action, table until October? And we'll table it till October.
I'll make a motion, well, you already know the motion.
Okay. Well, that will have an impact on the wording that's in the next document, just so you'll be aware.
Oh, yes, because of the signature.
And the titles that are referred to throughout the documents.
Because this is about the rehabilitation or the rehab loans that we have, the grant that we got.
And they can be, the titles can be changed.
But it does ask for,
As for their title.
Well, currently she's director.
Financial Services Director, yes.
It's just a modification.
okay, has everybody had time to look over this proposal?
Financial services.
Director. And Mr. Barnett is here tonight with McDavid Associates Incorporated. If you have questions, tonight is the night to answer, because these documents, along with others that we've been working on, have to be sent back to North Carolina Housing Finance Agency by the end of the month in order for us to receive the funding for this loan program.
September.
End of September, yes.
Well, welcome to Gates County.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for this grant. Certainly we need it to help some of our citizens bring their homes up to standards. And do we have questions, again, at the end of the table and coming forward?
That's right, they're ready.
Okay, Commissioner Jordan.
Thank you, Mr. Barnett, for being willing to administer this grant. You're not the supplier of it, you're the administrator of it.
That's right.
Okay. One of the things that we're concerned in Gates County is making sure that it's publicized to the citizens, that they have adequate awareness that this is out here. We're getting $175,000 to repair homes for the disabled, those with veterans who may have some problems, and the elderly, and also with families with children under 6 that probably have lead paint.
Correct.
So this is a grant that's certainly can help a lot of our people in need. We only have one newspaper publication in Gates County, that's Gates County Index. Of course, we have some citizens that do probably get the Virginia Police Paladin, and some even get the Daily Fan. But we really need an aggressive publicizing of this availability. I know that, it's a little bit more work on you all because you're going to get tons of applications, and the screening process can be a nightmare. But that's important to me. I'm on the housing committee as well. And so, is that something, do you anticipate an aggressive publication of the opportunity for application to this, and just how you might do that?
Absolutely. A lot of times the problem we have with these programs are letting people know that they're available. And so many times the population we're trying to reach doesn't get out. They just don't get out and get information. We've in the past used things like local newspaper, obviously. There are places that the population would typically go during the course of a week, posting notices there. One of the best ways to do it is to get it to the churches. We've got to make sure and have a good coverage so we're not showing any favoritism at any church level, but the churches are a good place to get information out. And anywhere else that the housing committee would recommend that we do that. Because we want to aggressively get it out. It does create a little more work, and it does create a few more hard feelings of those people that don't get help. But this is a loan pool program, so we're hoping to get, say, the first 5 done, and then get into the statewide loan pool and get more done. So it's quite to the county's advantage and our advantage and the housing committee's advantage to try to get as many people as we can information from.
All right, we will be having a housing committee meeting on the 4th Monday, which I believe is next Monday. I believe that's at 2 o'clock. Yeah.
And there is a limit on the amount of funding that is available for advertising as well, because that's a part of all of the soft costs, and right now it's $300 per house for advertising.
That's $1,500 for 5.
And that would be, like, if we were going to have, the number of applications we were going to submit would dictate how that number would grow to 300.
You can do 5 houses
Uh,
for the $175,000, $25,000 each, and there's $10,000 in soft costs. And out of that $10,000, there's 10 line items or so that are divided into soft costs, and one of them is advertising.
Well,
I didn't notice that, and looking at the literature, that there was a stipulation in there that if you had received loan dollars or maybe grants also.
Any federal assistance, I think, in the past.
5 years? I think it was 5 years. And was it a dollar amount?
It was $5,000. You see at least a $5,000 assistance from the federal program or something within the last 5 years or something.
Within, the property cannot have been repaired or rehabilitated with public funding of 5,000 or more within the past 10 years without approval.
And that is a North Carolina Housing Finance Agency minimum requirement.
And then we had a pretty extensive survey done, that we had a grant for a few years ago, and he was well aware of the documentation being on the housing committee, as what was gathered. You see that helping us a whole lot, Henry, or do we need to start fresh? Would that be a beginning point to be looking for the?
You know, I think that when the housing committee have some names of people who need this type of repair, and certainly, you know, we would like to work with you as much as possible, recognizing you can't be to all the meetings, but at least at some point, you know, you would kind of make yourself aware of who you are.
In speaking with the county manager, the really proposal that we at least bannered around at our one time together was to intimately and actively engage the housing committee in this program and in solicitation and selection.
I would say you a lot of time.
Well, they're quite a resource, you know.
I know some of us have received phone calls concerning people looking for help, and, you know, we refer them to the housing committee, but the problem is that the person's only in one day or week.
Yeah, well, right now, the coordinator is actually working 1 day a week.
So sometimes it's hard to get up with that
Well,
person.
in the office, of course, he goes out other times to do those things. But I'm thinking that if we develop some type of brochure or, you know, some type of notice that could be publicized, like you say, in churches and the Family Dollar, one, you know, something that we could just send out. It's not going to be cost, it's not going to take all that $300, but just, you know, something that to be run off. You know, those kind of things are inexpensive, but yet they make people aware that, hey, there's funds out there if you qualify.
Yes.
And certainly we want to take advantage of it. And the other thing is that we recognize this is not a typical grant where you receive this money and they say, well, you know, you've got $25,000 to repair your house. Well, actually, it's a loan. But it's a forgivable loan.
Right.
In other words, you don't pay it back. I'd like to see more of those myself, but unfortunately, we don't get those. But to soften the blow for many of our elderly, you know, sometimes they have a little bit of apprehension on signing a contract saying, hey, I'm receiving this $25,000. Guess what? My deed is encumbered for 7 years or whatever length of time it takes to write it off. I think we can only write off $3,000 a year. So, you know, those are some of the kind of things that, you know, we're going to have to make our citizens aware of and try to relieve the anxiety of them. You know, this is a process. It is a loan, but it's a forgivable loan.
But they need to understand, and it's,
Right, they need to understand.
it takes some time and engagement with them to do that.
Exactly.
Any comments down at the far end of the table?
The question that has come up in the past, is DSS involved in this program at all?
Well, that's how the committee works
Right.
and through the DSS. Of course, they have a lot of people that receive assistance. They're certainly going to be, some of those will be applying for it as well.
I'm Chairman, I'd like to ask Natalie what she thinks, get back to Ms. Pittman's title, changing that. Maybe have a minute or two, maybe think about it. What's the best way for us to? He's raising his hand.
I raise my hand.
Yeah.
You're recognized.
In the back of, on page 9, in the assistance policy, right above the date, we have inserted county manager is authorized to make changes in this policy as needed and to be effective in operation of the program. And that's really done for convenience for things just like what you're talking about, a title change, something that really doesn't change the intent of the policy. It would authorize the manager to make those changes. And obviously, if she saw something I feel that she felt like was of significance, she would want to bring that back to you. But this policy still needs to go to Housing Finance Agency. And invariably, even though it's on their template, they've got little things to change. So that may be taken care of by this and by just a motion authorizing to correct the title change when it's made.
And my question too is the question, what problems have you foreseen and run into as the program's been developed?
One of the hardest things is explaining to someone where they don't meet the criteria, and they're looking at the ground or the kitchen floor, and you say to them, you really don't meet the criteria for this program. That's probably one of the hardest things. This is, and telling people, you know, this is a $25,000 grant, and it has to meet $25,000 loan that has to meet the essential rehabilitation guidelines. There's a standard you have to go to. It's not the worst of the worst. And it is people that need at least $5,000 worth of help. So you may look at a home that this program would pick out, and you would really question why you were there. But when you got down into the objectives of this program, which are to allow the elderly, the handicapped to be able to age at home and not go and leave in their homes, to be able to sustain the housing stock for, let's say, 30 more years at a particular house. In my 30 years of dealing with these programs, that's probably the hardest thing to try to help people understand, I think.
Well, you're referring to the fact that if you go to a house, let's say you do look around and see the ground through the floor, but it's going to take more than $25,000 to bring that house up to a point where it's going to be able to be sustained for 5
Where
years.
it meets that standard. If you can't bring it to that standard of 25,000, it's not an eligible activity.
It's pretty much got to complete whatever the project.
Yeah. Well,
If it's too far gone, that you don't get the money.
but I thought this program was a little bit more lenient than the single-family rehab that we had before. That single-family rehab where they could spend up to, I don't know, $60,000, $50,000, 45, then they had to bring that up to a marketable house, and it would have to be able to be sustainable, like you said, about 20, 30 years. But this program is more lenient. I think it allows you, it has to be a house that you know is going to be sustainable for at least 5 years. It dropped that standard. And, you know, I'm thinking that this program also, if someone needs a roof, I mean, they may have some bad siding, but if you can get that roof in good shape, I think you need to look at this.
No, sir, that was discussed in great detail, and they told us if you fix the roof and you see the siding's bad, you've got to be able to do it all for $25,000.
And this program is actually called the Essentials Single Family Rehab.
That's why they call it essential.
That's right.
Now, I think we may have a little different opinion there. I mean, I understand that, you know, if the siding of the house is in such disrepair that you've got structural issues and whatever, but if you can do that roof, if it's not, you know, bad, it might could be brought up a little bit, but you can still work on that house. You know, I'm not sure that I would totally agree on that.
Well, the program as they have designed, the program that you had last time was a single-family rehab program that was very heavy, if you remember, in energy efficiency, blower door test, just right on down the line with those type of things. They have made it a lot more lenient by removing those restrictions on those activities. And they've given you I don't want to say a loose code, but probably a very realistic code, the essential guidelines, that says when you get through with this house, you have to have met that standard. and you can't leave things in that standard undone. So, so it really kind of identifies what condition of house you're looking for. And the other thing we haven't really talked about is you cannot leave lead-based paint hazards in the home as well. When you get to the lead-based paint abatement of identified hazards, not presence, but hazards, that takes it too. So I think there is a, and this is the 16th, the first time this program's been out. And I've been in the housing program for a long time. And I think there is a broad window of people that this will assist. And probably remembering that we started this conversation based on the questions of what are the problems I've seen over the problem. And that's sometimes telling people no, that you don't fit the glove that Housing Finance Agency has knit for us.
Because you mentioned the lead-based paint, that was one of the qualifying criteria. You have a child 6 years old and under. But if that's not one of the qualifying factors, let's say that they qualify for one of the other reasons, but there is lead-based paint, is that in the house, is that still lean? That paint has to be eradicated from there?
The lead-based paint hazards, which has a definition.
Even if that was not what they qualified?
Yes.
Okay. So we're talking about two people that are 75 years old, and they qualify for finances or
Feel around it.
yeah, still the lead-based paint issue.
Hazard.
Okay,
The hazards have to be eliminated.
right. Which means somebody has to go in and look for that hazard.
Well, actually, as a part of the soft costs, as manager was speaking about, is a lead-based paint inspection and risk assessment.
That loose paint, or you don't have to test every paint on every wall. I mean, if you see some suspected.
The process of the assessment actually has a HUD guideline on what you go by, and they'll test with the XRF machine, the different components. And the chipping paint, they now recognize that the dust is a larger problem than chipping paint. So that's the hazards come primarily from dust, from loose paint, loose stuff, that kind of material.
Any additional questions? And there are safeguards so that we see that it's constantly being inspected, so that there's quality work being done. We had a problem a few years ago where something was done improperly that came back to bite us for a long period of time.
It's over.
I know, and I don't want to start again.
This gentleman in the front row with his hands up.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to let you finish, man. We got a small crowd, everybody in here knows everybody, but I don't know. He did introduce us, and now I know it. Now, I feel like I need to know these things, because people say that I'm supposed to know everything. And, but I'm lost, Jack. Y'all filled me in, I got some questions.
Okay, this is.
Okay, the Henry, the housing committee you were talking about, is that the DSS committee you're talking about being on, or?
Well, this is a committee that was set up by the commissioners about 8 years ago, but they work through the DSS department, or that's where the meetings are held. We do use the facility resources at the DSS department, and the director is our secretary, basically, for the housing committee. But
And your job is to help to maybe, like, find these people that need this program. Is that right? I mean,
well,
housing committee.
they do take applications, people that need housing assistance that qualify. And this is not just for everyone, it's for the elderly, disabled, veterans, and those with low income that may have some children in the house, may have lead-based paint, that sort of thing. So, there's some criteria there for the citizens to meet, but we have a lot of grants out there. This particular grant alone is $175,000. The state's provided to us, we applied for it, we got it. And so this is a service to the citizens of the county.
Well, I kept hearing 175,000. Is that like a one-time grant, or we reapply for it? Well, let's say so how long of time, I'm gonna ask questions, because how long of a time frame are we looking at? 3 years, to spend 175,000?
And if we completely use up our money, there is a pool of money that we might be eligible for that from the state
Yes, ma'am.
impact.
My next question is that I was following along, but I sort of got lost. What are the amounts involved here when we were throwing like 25,000 and
25 per dwelling.
Okay, so you could spend up to 25,000, or you could spend less. Not,
The good
Between
thing-
5 and 25.
well, that's what I gathered, is
A
5
range.
came up and 25 came up, so it's anywhere between 5 and 25 per.
And that has got to bring the price up to a certain standard.
Right,
If
yeah.
it's too far gone, then it wouldn't make a difference.
I was following him along about you could see the ground under the floor and the roof and all of that, but, I mean, y'all were talking how to advertise it, and, of course, the Department of Social Services is the number one people that deal with this. And we as the citizens, I mean, of course, you know, I had a new toilet put in today, now I don't qualify with it. But it, you know, I am an old man, retired with no fixed income.
But
But I probably wouldn't qualify. But I may have a neighbor, but I would say, the reason I wanted to know as much is riding all over the county knowing people, and somebody I see has got a problem, that I could come to Natalie, somebody and say, and I think these are the type things, one thing that spread it, Jack, is that people know about it, but it's hard to get the word out because all his information, I've got it straightened out, 5 to 25, got to bring it up to a certain standard.
It's 3 years you
And
have
the
to.
reason what's wrong with me and Henry is that we grew up on lead paint and we ate it, and that's what's wrong with us. He's not the only, Henry, you're not the only one, actually, Billy and I ate the lead paint.
But we were very fortunate, a lot of counties did not get it to go right, and Gates was one of the ones in northeastern North Carolina.
I have one other administrative concern. On page 8, it says, how do I submit an application? Contact the Gates County Housing Committee, that's fine, but I think the county manager needs to have a copy, needs to be aware of all of this. County manager's gonna be signing, for all of the completions and authorizations and so forth.
This is just the application for the housing committee to review it. Once it's selected, that's when I'll get a copy and it will go to Mr. Barnett for him to review. This is just so that they can get the initial application.
The thought was that that would be the intake, and then over on page 1, under program approvals, that the manager do the final approvals of the beneficiary. So it would go through an intake process, a review process that I would be involved with, and then a recommendation to the manager of final beneficiaries.
So the county, on page 1, it said the county manager will be responsible for final approval of beneficiaries.
Yes.
The county manager will also execute all contracts.
And the awards will come to this board, and then you would authorize the manager to sign the contract for the hard cost construction.
So if I found somebody, actually, well, I could turn it into Natalie.
Well, as you're supposed to, housing committee, well,
Right,
I,
well, yeah, and you were talking about the housing committee doing it, then it said, come back, the county manager had all this authority, so that would turn it into
The
you.
intake, like, goes out first, and then
Right,
they,
okay, yeah, right. So Henry, of course, I know him, I don't know the rest of them.
and who's the president of the housing committee now, or the chair? It's still
Patrice,
Mr. Riddick.
Patrice, he's president, he's not able to come back just yet.
Mhm.
Patrice is still serving vice president, vice chairman.
Okay, any additional questions? Thank you so much for coming,
Sure.
and we're looking forward to working with you and to help our citizens.
Thank you.
Okay,
You do need to approve this,
okay,
and especially the last document concerning this. We did not know if for the people that is authorized to sign the form. Sandy Pittman said that in the past typically it has been county manager of finance and then if necessary a board member. Or would you like it listed as is with county manager, finance officer, and clerk?
what is pleasure?
That seems sufficient. That seems sufficient to have,
Thank
because they're right there.
you like to put that in the form of a motion?
Well, before that, I also want to mention is, to Madam County Manager, if I may, Chairman, and that would be, are we talking about the changing of Ms. Pittman's title?
No, sir.
Okay.
No, this is the one that's highlighted. That's it, well, actually, in yours, it's in gray.
Then, yes, ma'am, Madam Chairman, make a motion that, that the resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Gates County, as it mentions for the program that Natalie, that our county manager, Natalie Ranchery, finance officer Sandra Pittman, and Melissa Lawrence, clerk of the board, be the three for the requisition form.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made, second, any, discussion? Certainly,
I would like to, have them add an alternate in case if, you know, these things are timely sometimes. And I think the chairman should be on there as an alternate in case if, I see we've got 3 signatures. And is that required?
It really probably advantageous to have 4, just because you can. Really probably will never need it. But the day you need it is the day you need it.
I wish we had put forward,
I think the clerk and the alternate, I would like to see an alternate and the chairman of the board of county commission.
Okay, will,
Yes, ma'am, I will.
Yes, I will.
okay, amend your motion in second to include the chair as the 4th signature.
We're gonna make that 4th or alternate.
I would make it 4. Just put that down as a 4.
It's a good idea.
Okay, any additional questions, comments? Hearing none, all those to approve the 4 signatures on this contract and to sign off on things, be the county manager, the finance service director, clerk to the board, and the chair of the board of commissioners. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
And you also need to approve the other documents as well.
Okay.
Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve David McDavid Associates Incorporated as the administrator of our ESFRLP 16 Essential Single Family Rehabilitation Loan Program.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second, Madam Chairman.
Motion's been made in second for us to approve for the Heisen Committee that David McDavid Associates to be the administrators of that grant. Any discussion? Not hearing any. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Can you please approve the documents as well? They all need to be approved because Chair Hoffler has to sign, I believe, 2 of the other documents as well.
Page 9.
There's one on page 9.
Madam Chair, could I make a recommendation?
Yes.
If you had a motion to approve the assistance policy, the procurement policy, the disbursement policy, and the program budget, that would be what you need.
Okay.
In one motion.
Say that again.
You can do it in one motion. That
Okay.
should be what you
Say that
need.
again.
The assistance policy, the disbursement policy, the procurement policy, and the program budget.
Okay.
Just one other clarification before we make a motion. The cost for administration, that's included, that will be covered under the administrative cost of the grant itself.
That's part of the soft cost structure. There's a $10,000 soft cost structure you're talking about has lead-based paint, insurance, intake, but in that, embedded in that, it's approved by the state on the cost from that would compensate us for our activities.
Okay. So in other words, the county does not have to have a separate.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve the assistance policy,
Okay, do I hear a second?
I will second that motion, Madam Chairman.
Okay, a motion has been made and seconded. Any formal discussion? Okay, we need to vote on this, the assistance policy, disbursement policy, procurement policy, and the program budget of the ESFLP 16 grant that we have received. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? I think we've done.
Thank you.
We're good.
Thank you for bringing it.
Thank
forward.
you.
Appreciate it.
It is a mindful when you have to get all those things in. Thank you. And have a safe trip back.
Thank you.
And just so you are aware, they are also handling Taylor County's project.
Well, if you read through that, there's so many things that you have to keep track of. And certainly you don't want to get in trouble with federal government over this. Okay, next item under new business is our November meeting date. The county manager has requested we change it. The meeting is scheduled for November 2nd, which is our Wednesday, but she would like to be away at the contract for construction and design services offered by the School of Government, and she would ask that we consider moving it to Tuesday, November 1st. What is the pleasure of the board?
I move that we grant the request.
Okay, a motion's been made that we move our meeting to Tuesday, November 1st.
Second.
A motion's been made and properly second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of moving our meeting from November 2nd, about Wednesday, to Tuesday, November 1st, 2016, say aye. Aye. All those opposed?
Public will be duly notified.
Yes, sir. Okay, any public comments from our citizens? Any citizens' comments? Hearing none. Commissioners' comments? We have others had a record tonight.
I'll begin, if that's okay.
Okay,
It's close to a record.
close to a record.
Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. We heard some things, this last thing we heard here about this grant, and there's no better way to get the word out than people who are here. So if you'll go out and share that, there are some, we didn't talk a lot about the income requirements, but there are income requirements. But unfortunately, a lot of people who will have a need will probably meet the income requirements anyway. So anyway, thank you for being the ears here for hearing this program. Now if you'll go out and be the mouthpiece for it, we would appreciate it. Thank you for being here.
I do thank everyone for being here and observing what we try to do for the help citizens of the county. And I might add, I'm glad to see some of my constituents here. Mr. Roundtree, Mr. Norman, several others. I believe that's about it.
That's what I say. Keep moving.
I wouldn't claim Randy, but we do thank you for your participation. And as Commissioner Owens has said, that we do need to get the word out and be mindful of the newspapers and what's going to come out and share it with those around who may be in need. Thank you so much.
Jack, you want me to do it?
Go ahead.
4, 5? I got 5.
Yeah.
I mean, just a bit of clarity, I got 5 out of 8. So it looks like my side will get the word out.
It sounds like.
Well, I appreciate you coming, and we do have this little contest in here, and it's always nice to see folks from my side of the world in here. And just one more little comment, if we have Leslie in here, we don't usually have Leslie. Just for those of you who do not know it, I started the school in 1952. Leslie was one half of one set of twins that was in that class. There were 4 sets of twins in my first grade class.
That's a record, I bet.
And Ms. Pollock had all of us, and she didn't have a bit of trouble.
She was old school.
Well, I thank you for being here as well, for the colleagues, folks I work with, and folks that I went to school with. And so appreciate y'all being here. It does affect us as an impact of what you bring forward, what we hear from you. And that really helps us with the progress that we all make for Gates County. And that's for the next generation. And we all kind of seek that responsibility, all of you, and that comes back to us. So I want to thank you for that and appreciate your input.
And I too thank you for coming. Certainly tonight, I think we had some interesting discussions and some things were brought to up that we need to think about and try to find some solutions to concerning the convenience sites and well. Hopefully we've made progress on the appearance of the library. Since that is a county building, we certainly want it to look appropriate. And as we entered, this past weekend, it's been some tough times for certain areas of our country. And what happens there can happen here or anywhere we are. And so we need to pray for our country. We need to pray for our law officials and law enforcement. It's a tough job out there. And Mr. Hathaway is taking on a new job very shortly, and we wish him the best and that he will help keep our county safe. And we appreciate what he has done in the past, and we hope that the future will be very bright for him. I hope all of you have a safe journey home, and help spread the word. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318, 11A on legal, economic, development, and real estate and personnel issues.
So moved.
Okay, motion's been made. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Okay, I entertain a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have a motion to instruct our county manager to inform our tax administrator, contact vendor representatives to meet with Board of Commissioners as soon as possible, or as soon as they can arrange that. Do I have someone who will make a motion to that effect?
I'll make that motion, Madam Chair.
Second.
Okay, a motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? And we'll see y'all October.